Alright, I want to talk to you guys today about cutting tools. Alright, they're what you call a axe, a machete, a multi-tool shovel, which has a knife on it as well, a blade on it, and hex tools, a saw, hatchet, and a thinner hatchet, a handsaw, a tactical knife or survival knife, a K-bar, a bushcraft knife, a tracker knife, and up there, that beautiful big monstrosity right there, that is a BOWIE knife. And just for little detail stuff, little minute detail stuff, a Swiss Army knife. And at the end of the day, to keep all these knives in pristine condition, sharp and ready to go for any condition you're going to be in, which I will speak on in a minute, you're going to need ways to sharpen it. Sharpening pucks, which you can sharpen your axe, your hatchets. Also, a Viking whetstone, sharpen your little bitty knives, your blades, and some sharpening stones with different grit, as you can see. Also, you're going to need honing solution. Yep, you're going to need all this stuff to maintain all your blades. But the most important thing is, what blade you're going to actually use. Depending on your environment, if you're in the Everglades, you might need a machete instead of an axe. You might need this in the upper Midwest, somewhere like Montana, Wisconsin, Minnesota. But if you're in other places where you don't need an axe, you might need this, a machete. Also, depending on if you want to be lightweight and on the move, you may need a hatchet. A hatchet with a hammer end, the hammer and nails, and do tasks at your base camp. Or a smaller, thinner hatchet, just for finer detailing, which you can't really hammer anything with this end because it's not made for hammering, unlike this one is. Two different types of hatchets, as you can see. By far, this is my favorite. As you can see, it has a saw. It has a rope cutter right there. Hex tools. A blade on this end. A shovel. And also, what's inside of it, I'll show you really quick. Ooh, look at that. What's inside of it is an emergency knife with a can opener and a saw. And also at the bottom of this, get this off, ferrocerium rod on there and a whistle. Look at that. And on the tip of it, something to break a window just in case you need to break a window and get out of a tight situation. And maybe you don't need a hatchet or an axe or a machete. Maybe all you need is a folding knife. You can get you a silky folding knife, a folding saw rather, or you can get you a little cheap one. Get a medium-sized one, or you get an extra long one, depending on what you're actually cutting, how big the wood is, the branches are. But you got to have skills to process the wood and use it for what you need it for. Also, if you really have good skills with knives or bushcraft and survivalism, all you need is a basic thick survival knife or bushcraft knife. We can use a small log to process wood. You can hammer the small log on there to process wood for kindling. or a survival knife, which is a K-bar, which is only used for one thing, protecting yourself. You can always use something to protect yourself. You can choose any knife to protect yourself, but I always say a K-bar or a survival knife, my personal opinion. Here's another bushcraft knife, one of my favorites, which gets a lot of use. You can't really see it, but it gets a lot of use. I use it for all the tasks I need, like, say if I'm carving like branches or sticks for skewering to barbecue or to put meat and veggies on over an open fire, I use this knife. This right here is a tracker knife. It has two cutting positions, one slanted in, one oblong up here, and a saw blade on the end, and a spot for cutting rope or wire. As you can see the blade inside of there. Yep. You won't be able to start fires with this. I guess if you use the blade end on a ferrocerium rod, you could, but it's not made for, kicking up fires or kicking up sparks, but you could use that. Or good old tried and true Swiss Eagle Army knife. We have a plethora of tools on here, from screwdriver to, small knife to tool or bigger knife, toothpick, well, I can't get it off, but it's a toothpick right there, as you can see. Get that off. And a plethora of other tools on this. And it doesn't cost that much, maybe like 30 bucks. But get you one. You can get you one that has 11 tools. This one right here has actually 30 tools in it. It's lightweight. And this is the mother load. Something to protect yourself from big animals. It's not necessarily a tool, but it's a cutting device. Well, as you get that, this is for bloodletting, to make whatever you're using it on bleed out faster. Gigantic BOWIE knife, as you can see. It's a beautiful BOWIE knife. I haven't put it to use yet because I haven't had to protect myself from a large animal yet. And if I had to, this is what I would take out if I'm out in bear country, wolves, even if I had to fight a wolverine or a badger. This is what I would use to get it over faster. Self-defense tool. All of these can be used as self-defense tools. You could use all of these pretty much as self-defense if you know what you're doing. But yet and still, you have to make actually weapons or tools out of sticks or paracord rope, to tie onto a stick to make this into a spear, to make this into a spear if you had no choice to protect yourself, But all these cutting tools varies on where you're going to be using them at and what you're going to be using them for, because you can't carry everything. You're going to have to pick and choose exactly what you're going to need in a certain environment that you're in and what are you going to be using them for. Of course, we would love to take everything that you see here with you, but you won't be able to. You got to learn skills, bushcrafting skills, which I suggest Bushcraft 101 by David Canterbury. Learn some skills so you don't have to take everything. Maybe 3 of these things you would take. Of all these, which of these 3 blades or cutting tools would you take? Would it be a BOWIE knife, the tracker blade, the K-bar, the bushcraft knife, the survival knife, the hatchet, the hammer-headed hatchet, folding saw, multi-tool. Remember, it has a lot of tools in this one. The shovel and the multi-tool, machete, or an axe. Depending on where you're going, you guys. Who knows? I just want to lay this on you because I know a lot of people really think they're ready. Shit. Nobody's ready. You're going to be prepared. Nobody's ready, including myself. You're going to be prepared. But without honing solution and a way to sharpen your tools, sharpening pucks, portable, none of this stuff will matter. So get trained up. Stay focused. Get yourself together. Stop worrying about what everything else is going on in the world. Because when the shit hit the fan, somebody's going to be dependent on you. And they're going to need your help. Stay blessed. Stay dangerous. Bang. If I had to break this down into 2 categories, which would be long term, I would have an axe, machete, the shovel with multi-tool, my Bowie knife with a sharpening puck, and the grit sharpening stones from 180 grit all the way down to the smooth finer with honing solution. This would be my base camp long-term cutting tools. Now, if I wanted to be more lightweight and on the move, I would have a folding saw, a hatchet with a hammer in where I can do some processing tools and hammer in stuff, and my survival K-bar, my bushcraft knife, because you always want to have 2 knives just in case you lose one or one breaks or one gets stolen, whatever, you drop one, you have 2. And also I will have my Swiss Army knife where it has multi-tools on there to substitute for having the shovel with all the tools on it, and my Viking whetstone necklace and a sharpening puck for the axe, with a hatchet rather. So this would be my short term if I had to be lightweight and on the move. What would you use? Short term? Long term? I guess that depends on the situation, doesn't it? Bang.